Oh, my mic was muted. Okay, so I was just rambling. So don't worry. Didn't miss anything. Didn't miss anything. Not yet, at least. Let's go over what I've done. Since I've been working on this project, it doesn't look anything like it did before. So let's go ahead and go through what I've actually done, because you know this is my life now. My life. Ow, that's quite loud. Let's turn that down on my end. It's probably not super loud on your end. Maybe it is. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit more though, and then I'm gonna turn myself up a little bit. There we go. Audio balancing is always fun. Very fun. So, let's see what you guys think. First off, world generation is working. This looks pretty awesome. I know I'm not supposed to like call my own stuff cool, but look at this here. This is the zoomed out view. We've got like islands that form, and you can see the camera lagging behind the player there. I can walk around, and actually what we'll do is on the world we'll set the range to 5 so that we can see a little bit further. Just give it a moment when I pass through a chunk. Oh yikes, that breaks it when I switch. I forgot. Whoopsies. I have to figure out why that loading range bug even exists. But oh, that's sad. Okay, let's redo it to look at it again without changing the loading range. I may have just broken my entire game for you guys. That would be sad, because now we're spawning in the ocean again. Yeah, so there's some weird bugs. I think this one's fixed if I move these a tiny bit. There are things I'm gonna have to iron out. Like that's definitely caused by the Perlin noise generator. But I can figure that out at some point. But as you can see, not only do I have much more detailed terrain generation now, but I've also got this sort of color grading on the grass. And the color grading isn't only there. Why don't I upload these? Because YouTube doesn't like it when you upload things that don't get any views, really. So if you know something's not going to get many views, it makes more sense to just not upload it so that it doesn't kill your channel. But I may start uploading these. It depends how I'm feeling. So actually, the way this color is being gotten is because I made a climate system. Pew, 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 pew. So let me explain how that works. So in the code for grass, actually, we're getting the temperature and humidity. The humidity makes it greener, and the temperature makes it more orangish. This is the code for grass. And basically, I can show you that that's actually working, because the humidity depends on how close it is to the ocean. Look at that. When we get closer to the ocean, it's more greenish. When we go back towards the center, it starts to get a little bit darker. But let's go to somewhere warmer. So how I'm doing heat is actually up and down. So like, if I go really high up or really far down, it's gonna get cold, like the poles of the planet. I think the size of the map is going to be 10,000, just so that players don't, like, never find each other. So if we zoom me down a bit, like, this is moving very slowly. Let's pull me all the way down to, like, wee. Okay, so the only issue with what I just did is that it's gonna make everything go kind of insane for a second, but I think it'll eventually load. I just have to go through the load queue and set it to 0. If we go to the generator, the queue size is at 14, but if I set it, oh, I can't manually do that. So let's figure out where this error was actually thrown, because even if I do mess around with it, it shouldn't throw an error. And this is on generate at... See, that's weird that this is freaking out. Oh, because the chunk was deleted while it was generating. So that's actually interesting. So first off, this music is way too intense for programming. I'm sorry. Okay. One sec. Let's calm it down a little bit. Here we go. That's pretty much Okay, whatever. Monster Cat isn't gonna help me out here. Let's go ahead and make this bug go away. All we have to do is we have to put a flag into the chunk that says public bool do not unload. Super simple. Flag to prevent chunk unloading. And then when the chunk is generating, we will do when we generate the terrain, we will go ahead and we'll do chunk dot do not unload equals true. And when it finishes, we'll do chunk dot do not unload equals false. And actually, this can't be done here because this is done in a queue. This has to be done beforehand. Chunk to do not unload equals true. Prevent unloading while generating. Or while Okay, so we don't have to say chunk because this is the chunk. It knows its own existence. Same thing for generate mesh. Let's jump over to the mesh generator. Very simple. When it finishes, all we have to do is chunk dot do not unload equals false. Bam! Bam! I can foresee problems in the future with that, but it's gonna work well enough for the time being. Oh, and then I have to actually make it not unload if that flag is there. So going down to the unload code here, we'll do if do not unload return. Great. Fantastic. So if we go ahead and hit play again, now our character is... Actually, we're only at 1,000 this time, so it should be a lot more orangey, the grass. There is something broken, though, with the first few chunks that load. Like, if I go over this, it actually, like... First off, we did throw an error again, so something was clearly wrong. Why did that happen? Data.chunk.terrain should not have been null because we definitely prevented it from unloading if that was set. Generate mesh here, generate mesh, and then generate mesh, we say do not unload. Huh? I don't know why that's being weird. Well, you know what? I could sit here and deliberate about it, but you know what? I don't think that it's a big enough thing that I have to focus on it during the stream. We'll figure that bug out later, okay? I'll write that one down. Let's actually go to like the area where I can prove that I actually did something about it. Ah, here we go. So we're at a Y of 14. Oh no. Ah, that's misleading a tiny bit. So we're at about 1400. So if we look around, look how red the grass gets over here. Like, we can make the effect more dramatic. I'm just not sure how dramatic I want the effect to get. Like, I guess over here would be desert, so I guess we'll up it a bit. So in the grass code, we're just gonna get this here, which is the green value. And we're just gonna turn it down a little bit further. We'll turn it down to like 0.5F. So half the amount of green it at the most. Actually, let's go down to like 30% for the most intense. We just don't want it. We don't want it to look red. We want it to look like brownish. Like that looks fine there. The question is just, is the player actually... Oh, we're actually at 411, so that's pretty much the most intense it would get. So yeah, the grass does look dead. The grass does look kind of dead. I mean, this would all be desert anyways, so I guess it should be, like, completely dead at this point. But again, I have the power to do a lot of things. And one of those things I can do is intensify the effects. So let's turn the humidity coefficient up and turn this into 0.1. Now at this point, it may just be a little bit ridiculous. And we're gonna turn this down to 1.5 because it did look a little bit too red to me. So it's one of those things when you're making a game, it's like, there's so many calls that come down to like, oh, what do you want it to look like? And it's like, well, that's too dark, clearly. That actually looks healthier. It doesn't look like it's dying. It looks rather healthy. So there's always going to be things where you have to ask these questions, and it's a lot of work. So we'll do 0.2, and we'll bring this up to 1.75. I think I'm just gonna leave it here. Aaron's the artist, and honestly, it's probably dumb for me to be doing this anyways because these textures are placeholders, and when the textures change, I'm gonna have to redo the values. But I just want you guys to look at this and like see. I think that looks really good for terrain. Like looking at it, it looks rich. Considering it's all made out of squares, I think it's very rich terrain. I also made it so that the player can tell what kind of material he's on, so if he goes into the water, he gets really slow, a third of the speed, because he's swimming now. Now we're back on grass, and we can explore a little bit. I mean, there are some interesting areas, like the lower elevations do get a bit of sand, so we get some beach areas and stuff. But, I think the question is gonna be next. We should probably see how cool it'll look if we had deserts, because right now we only have one option for biomes programmed. Oh no, because there's something else I wanted to do. I wanted to make tree generation work, and that's another big thing I have to do. So if we go into the chunk terrain generator, we can get the terrain, but when we actually generate the whole chunk, we decorate the terrain, and decorating the terrain is pretty special, because when we decorate the terrain, when you make a new episode of the Crater Map, oh, I don't know. I haven't been feeling the most inspired in City Skylines. Right now, I'm kind of in programming mode. So when we decorate the terrain, it's kind of cool because now we get to actually add something that adds a little bit of depth in gameplay. And the first thing I want to add is trees, which will be in Lake Forest and stuff. Now this is my tree texture. It's terrible, but it's top down. So like I tried to think of what a tree would look like if you're looking down on it. I mean, it's not good, but it's good enough that I can be like, yeah, that works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Collider, and I'm going to add a Polygon Collider, and it actually didn't do a terrible job. Huh. Okay. A little bit wasteful. Yeah, you know what, that's really wasteful. I think that we can do it with 3 circles and probably be about as accurate. Watch this, my professional hitbox skills. Like, it's not like the tree is gonna be fighting you. It doesn't need to be super accurate. Great, there's one. And then we add another circle collider. When it comes to things like this, I'm not the greatest, but I can do it. It's just the question is whether I'm doing a good job. And then another circle collider, and that'll be the last one. Is it perfect? No. Not even close. But you know what? Sometimes it just really doesn't matter how perfect it is. What matters is that it works. Like, the player isn't going to be able to get very close to that anyways. So here's our tree. We're just going to name it, like, Tree 1. Fantastic. It looks great. And then we're going to go into our prefabs. We may add behavior to the tree at some point so that you can cut it down or something. We'll have to add an item system for that, and that'll need an inventory and stuff, which I've done before. It's not, like, terribly horrible, but it's work nonetheless. So let's go ahead and go to world, and I don't really know where I'm going to do these prefabs. For now, I'm going to do them in the world because it's like a lazy way for me to do it. So we'll do public, game object, tree, prefab. Like, there's probably going to be a place I put these that aren't inside of the world, but tree, actually we'll just do a general area for like decoration prefabs. So one thing that you have to really keep in mind is that you can't just YOLO it. Because every time it generates, it has to be the same. You can't have the tree randomly placed, because if it's completely random, then if you come back, the tree is going to be in a different location. So we have to make a randomness that isn't actually random, and that means we need to know the exact order things are going to happen in. Now, thankfully, I've actually done this before, and the best way for us to do this is to give each chunk their own randomness that goes off of the position of the chunk. Because if it goes off the position of the chunk, then technically no chunk should have the same randomness values. And then we go through all the points in the chunk, and if it hits a certain value, we place something, and maybe we use another random number for that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that randomness. So first off, storage for decoration objects in this chunk. Okay, the reason why the chunk stores it is so that when like it saves the chunk, if the player breaks it, it knows. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make a new thing down here, and we're gonna call it public system.random random. The reason we have to say system is because Unity has their own random. The randomness generator for this chunk. Now, when the chunk is created, we have to make sure that this randomness is remade. This is one of the things where I really can't get around creating garbage. It has to be done, and it has to be done before the terrain's generated. Create randomness. And so what we're going to do is random equals new system.random, and I believe a seed can go in there. Yes. So the seed is what makes it random. So for the seed, we're going to do the position of the chunk.x to a random factor, and then we're going to do ANDed by position dot y right shift to the 5. Now you may say, why something so specific? That's not specific. I literally just made something random there. And actually, right shifting 5 is dumb, left shifting makes more sense. Oh wait, I guess it doesn't really make a difference, does it? It's gonna clear 5 bits no matter what. So we'll do position.x times 5,000. I mean, you need it to be really random, because sometimes you'll have things that, like, lines of trees that go throughout the entire world if you don't do it right. So do position.x times position.y times 100. I think that's nor. That's gonna be... I don't do bit shifting with the complex ones. Come on. C# operators. I know it's something bit shifting. Not shifting. It's bitwise logic though. So we've got pointer and logical. It's XOR. There we go. So, like I said, it's just randomness we're making. It just needs to be so that you wouldn't be able to tell if something was the same. So now that we have our random, now we can have some fun. Because now when we do this decoration, we just have to make sure that it always goes in the same way. So if we jump into our terrain generator, into our decoration here, now all we have to do is we're just gonna copy this actually. So we're gonna go through every single piece in the terrain, and then we'll get a random value for each of them. Random equal, oh, nope, we're gonna do float random equals chunk dot random dot next, and we'll go from 0 to 1,000, and we're gonna make this an integer. So I'll make it actually we'll go 0 to 100. That's a little bit more easy to understand. And so we'll do 1 out of 100 things will be a tree, just for testing purposes. And we'll do if random equals 100, or this is how often decoration happens in general, so any kind of decoration. So if random equals 100, what we'll do is now we have to use the biome. So this is when it gets a little bit rough, but I know exactly what I'm doing, because I should be able to do get biome dot get biome for that position, and biome should have changed. I need to update that because it shouldn't be getting, it should be using climate data, and it is, no, here it is. That's why it's out of date. So we're just gonna use climate data, and then we do data dot, we have to switch all these for data dot temperature. We're always returning grassland right now, so it's not like this is gonna really change anything. It's just, it's not gonna compile if I have errors in it. Oh shoot, I just changed things that are actually incorrect. Okay. Because the first if statement is for the temperature. So I actually drew out a chart that shows how the biomes are determined. It makes sense. If it's dry and hot, it's a desert. If it's cold and humid, it's a taiga, you know. It's not really humidity, it's more of rainfall, but I called it humidity, and I'm not going to rename it because there's no reason to, because I understand what it means. But one day when they make a Wikipedia article about this game, they're going to be like, even though it's called humidity, that's not really what he meant. And it's like, whatever. You understood. You got it. Okay, there we go. Now it's converted over to the climate data, because climate data is my beautiful new addition. Great, so if we do biome.getBiome, and then we do chunk.climateData, and we get it at that position, which is x plus chunk size times y. I know PEM does, but I'm still putting parentheses around it because it makes me more comfortable. And then we do dot. Now that we have the biome, now we do I should be able to do something in here now. I should be able to do dot decorate terrain. And it should be... This is actually a game object. And that's gonna be dot deck. Wait, what? Get biome. Oh, I'm dumb. This dot decorate terrain. And so now I have to send in the terrain that it is. And then that's gonna be chunk dot terrain. Let's just simplify this a little bit. We're gonna take this out and we're gonna do index equals this, and then we're gonna grab it at the index, and then we're gonna grab the terrain at the index as well. Why doesn't the terrain know its own climate? Because that would take a lot of RAM. And right now I'd rather use CPU than RAM, because this is gonna be on a web browser and I don't know how much RAM Chrome and stuff can actually give a web page. I don't know what the limitations are on that. I do know that it can use a lot of your CPU though. Okay, so now we do game objects. Game objects. Decoration equals. See, that should work. Ah, there we go. And we're gonna rename this because it doesn't actually do the decorating. We're just gonna call it get decoration. Okay, great. Fantastic. Why does it complain when I put there is... Biome to get biome, and then that's that. That's a chunk in itself. Dot get decoration cannot convert terrain to... Oh! Shoot! Because this is returning terrain for some reason. Okay, return null. Oh, and this... Wait a second. Okay, why are you disagreeing now? Because this is the parent, and the parent hasn't been changed. There we are. And this needs to return null. And now when I save this, this one's gonna stop complaining. There we go. Okay, and then this one is going to just return if it's grass. So we're gonna do if terrain dot type equals terrain type dot grass. Return. Please tell me this has awareness of the world. It doesn't. Why? Okay, we're gonna do world. Maybe we can have like an anti-world. You know what? I'll give it even more control. Actually, I'll just send the chunk in. Because then we can just like try to act really cool. There we go. And that's gonna work. That's gonna pretend it works. Again, I have to change this first. But now it's gonna work. Because my code would never, ever not work. Okay, return chunk dot world dot tree prefab. That's a lot of jumping through hoops. Else return null if it's a different kind of terrain. That's fine. And now over here we'll do if decoration is not equal to null. And we have to do a second check. Actually, no, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so we're gonna just go ahead with this. Hi Brock, how's it going? Hi Nikola Tesla as well. Although your comment was retracted. I don't think that's the real Nikola Tesla though. I have a slight feeling. Okay, so what we're gonna do is if the decoration isn't null, we're gonna instantiate it, which usually a bad idea, but this is actually like one of the times when it's okay to instantiate something in Unity, because we actually need a new one. And now we're gonna throw... We actually have to do game object instance equals, because we need the instance itself, and then we're gonna do instance dot transform dot position equals new vector 3, and we're gonna do the x, and we're gonna do the y, and we're gonna do a negative 0.1 fz so it doesn't go behind the ground. Wow. Now isn't that just breathtaking? Now with my beautiful tree here, because this is the greatest tree of all time, we're gonna put it into the world. World, you need a tree somewhere. Where are you looking for it? I know you're looking for a tree. Ah, wait, no, there's the player prefab. Something's wrong. It's... Ah, okay, we're just gonna send new climate data in there, because that's the most generic I can get. Okay, so now it's gonna work. I can bet you that my beautiful tree is now actually going to have an option. Please. Ah, tree prefab. There we go. And so now we're gonna go over to our prefabs, drag our tree in, and this is it, guys. Will it add trees? I actually don't know if it will actually work. There's a slight chance it won't. There's a 1 in 100 chance of a tree popping up. No errors yet. Oh, actually, I'm dumb because this is wrong. This is wrong. You know why it's wrong? Because this is the X and Y in the chunk. So we need to add the chunk position. So we have to do X plus chunk dot position dot X times chunk dot chunk size. When you're working in multiple dimensions, it's always annoying, but this is why you double check everything. Chunk dot position dot Y times chunk dot chunk size, and that's gonna work now. That's gonna work now. I'm pretty confident. I didn't check if any trees showed up in here, but it is gonna work. Come on, trees. Wow, that's a really sandy. This is my luck, honestly. If I were to play my own game, I'd be put on an island like this, thrown on an island with literally like 4 pieces of grass, all sand in the middle of the ocean. Let's go swim somewhere better. Oh, please, trees somewhere. I need a tree. Come on, tree. Are there any trees for me here? 1 in 100 chance means that it shouldn't take too long, technically. Okay, we're gonna try a new one. Okay, so we've got actually some stone in this biome, which is kind of neat. Which means that the elevation must be pretty high. So that's fine. All that matters is that there's a tree somewhere. If there's no trees anywhere, then something is very wrong. Is the code unreachable? Did I make it return before it did that? These are all good questions. No, we set the climate data and the chunk data, and then we decorate the terrain. And then we set it to decorate equals true. So something is wrong. Chunk size, chunk size. Random is random dot next from 0 to 100. Oh, I wonder if it only goes up to 99 because it starts at 0. I don't think that's true for random, but it may go one under. It may not actually hit the max. Yes! Oh my god, guys, we've got trees! Oh! Oh, look at that! 1 every 100 grass. Oh, wow. Guys, it's a tree. Oh, look at it. And you can see my terrible colliders, but it's not that bad. It could be worse. Look, we're walking around. There's trees, guys. Trees. Just making sure there's no trees in the ocean, because that would be bad. So now pay very close attention to where this tree is, because we have to make sure that if we go over and ungenerate the tree, it regenerates in the correct spot. Okay? Also, we have to make a way for the trees to unload as well. Well, that means we're gonna have duplicate trees, but that makes it really easy to tell if they spawn in the same spot. Are there 2 trees here? Yes! Yes, there are. There's many trees here, actually. I must have loaded that chunk quite a few times. So it is actually working as intended. The trees are spawning in the correct spot. I can get you my phone number, but not through stream. That isn't a good idea. Oh, look how dark the grass gets over there. It's so dead and sad. That's really sad. That means that our position is way... Oh, it's really close to the center. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, this is actually gonna be kind of fun, is we're gonna set up... Well, it's not really gonna be fun. We're gonna set up a, we're gonna set up a pool for trees. Actually, does that even... How would I do that? I have to make a pool. So I have to make a special kind of pool. I have to make a pool of pools. A dictionary of pools. There we go, a dictionary of pools. Let's go to our pool manager, because we're gonna have a bunch of game objects which need to be pooled, but we need to make sure that when we pool them, that we get the right one out. So let's make a dictionary of pools of trees. That's exciting. I mean, when you talk in code, it really sounds ridiculous, but we are literally going to make public dictionary, and then it's going to use a string to get a pool of game objects. And this is going to be called the master game object pool, because pool dictionary, pool dick. There we go. That's quite a thing. Okay, so this one's gonna be a little bit funky to deal with, so we're actually gonna make some helper methods here, and we're gonna do this is gonna be private. Actually, we're gonna work through it using some other things. So the first thing we have to do is we have to make the dictionary exist. So master game object pool dictionary equals new. Bam. Great. Thankfully, Visual Studio is smart enough to do 90% of the work for me. Do you still use Instagram? I haven't used Instagram in a long time, but I still do have access to the account. I do have Twitter, though. I use Twitter. You can also, I think... I actually don't know. I thought YouTube had private messages. They tried to do that at some point, but they're pretty bad. Whenever YouTube tries to add something, it ends up worse than it started somehow. Public void add game object to pool, and we'll do game object object. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna secretly make a pool for each type of game object. So we're gonna do string name equals object dot name, and so the name's how we're gonna do it. Oh shoot. So here's where it's going to be challenging, because Unity is actually kind of a meme, and when you create something like trees, it's not just going to name them trees, it's going to call them tree1 clone, which is kind of annoying. We have to find a way around that. Unity, avoid clone tag. So instead, we're gonna use... No, that would be ridiculous. That would be absolutely ridiculous. I wonder if there's another way to identify... So this is a challenging one, actually. You know what? It's fine. It's fine, because the clones should have the same name, no matter what. Can you iteratively name some... I mean, you could, but I don't want to... Working with strings in C# is asking for memory leaks. So we're going to use this because they should have the same name. It doesn't name them like clone 1 or anything. It names them all the same. So we're going to make the key into the dictionary the name, and now we're gonna do if the dictionary, if the master game object pool dictionary contains key name, then what we do is we do master game object pool dictionary name dot add object. Oh boy, this is a little bit brain bending, I'll be honest. And then else, if it's not already having one of those, we have to make pool new pool equals new. Oh no, it's gonna be pool. Oh god, pool game object new pool equals new pool game object. If it needs to create one, that's rough. That's really rough, actually. That's like 8,000 times rougher than I expected that to be. How is it going to create new ones if it has to? That's rough. That's really rough. I have a plan, though. This plan is kind of memey. However, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a list. We're gonna go to the world, back to the world, and we're gonna, instead of doing tree prefab, we're gonna do public list game object deco prefabs for decoration prefabs. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna be really creative here, because now what we're gonna do is on the world, we're gonna, instead of having what we had before with the tree prefab here, why does this say invalid expression? Because it is an invalid expression. We're just gonna comment it out for a second before we finish it. Now this is going to become a list. Oh, come on. Okay, come on. Just get, okay, here we go. So now we can do one, we can put the tree into here, and now we can dynamically choose the correct game object based off of the name. Tree 1. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to remove So, this is actually going to be slightly brain bending. So, pool new pool equals new pool game object going to world dot. It's going to be instantiate world. I don't have a copy of the world, do I? We'll have to do world. We're gonna call this the master pool. Okay. And then we're gonna do instantiate world dot dot deco prefabs dot find. That's, we don't want to find, we need to find it by name. Oh. Okay, we're actually going to do this. We're going to turn this into basically a method for my own sanity. Okay, so what are we returning? We are returning, for each for each game object in world.deco prefabs, if object.name equals name dot substring dot can I get rid of that trim end, how long is clone, or I can do clone dot length. Yo, look at that. Return object. and then 10 of those. Oh, come on. Not all code paths return a value. No. There's already something called object. Oh. We'll call it prefab, and we'll do if prefab dot name equals name, and then return prefab. Clone dot length cannot convert from int to. Oh, that's even better. Yo, can I just trim clone out of it? Because that would be like 18 billion times easier. Clone dot to car array. Yep, that's dumb, but it may work. Okay, ridiculous, yes. Functional, maybe. And then not all code paths, and then if it can't find anything, return null. Yes! That may be one of the most ridiculous things I've done. No, we're really reaching. We're really reaching. Okay. Ooh, actually, this would be way simpler and way more robust if we did, if name dot contains, and then we did the secondary name, prefab dot name. That is a much more elegant solution. There we go. That's elegant. Okay, so now that we've got our super elegant solution to return the prefab, and then here it needs to do debug.log looked for a game object that doesn't exist. Okay, so in the case, okay, so the pool is created and it's made for game objects, and if it doesn't have one, it copies it. Fantastic. I think that's actually all set, except we have to actually add the thing to the pool, and then we have to do new pool dot add object. Holy moly, that was really probably unnecessary. And now we're gonna do public void take game object from master pool. Oh yeah. And we're gonna do string name, and then we're gonna do world again. And we do kind of like this, so we're gonna actually copy this a little bit. So we already have the name, so if we already have that, then we're gonna do that dot take, return that dot take. Otherwise, we're gonna create it, and then we're gonna do new pool dot take. Public game object. There we go. Okay, so that all looks really ridiculous, but I think that I can actually now do return pool manager dot, and then we should have, oh, dot instance dot get, oh no, it's dot take game object from master pool, and we can say tree 1 because that's the name of it, and then we can do chunk.world. Okay, so I have no clue if that'll actually work, but it sounds cool. And then when the chunk unloads, what we're gonna do is add game objects to master pool. We're gonna do for int I equals 0, I is less than, what did I call it? It is called objects. That's a terrible name. We're gonna call them deco objects because that's a way better name. Okay. If I is less than deco object, did I ever initialize that anywhere? No, I didn't. We'll do that here temporarily until I create a pool for it. Okay, so let's go down to here. And now what we're gonna do is deco objects I. We're gonna do game object equals deco object I. Then we're gonna do deco objects I equals null. And then we're gonna do the final step, which is going to be pool manager dot instance dot add game object to master pool, and then we just send the object in with our world. Okay, let's see if this actually works. I have no clue if it's actually gonna work. Okay, so we have trees, and when I move chunks, will it actually remove the trees properly and put them back without there being copies? Okay, so it looks like I'm gonna have to get a little bit further away, so let's jump down here, get across here. It doesn't look like the trees are being unloaded. Uh-oh. And you know why they aren't being unloaded? Because they were never actually added. Because when we did this in Chunk Terrain Generator, we instantiate it, but we never actually gave it to the world. World... Oh no, chunk dot deco objects dot add instance. Now it has responsibility over them. Let's go over to the player and let's see if we can get some trees to despawn. Okay, those ones didn't. That's interesting. We may still have an issue. No, the trees do not seem to want to despawn. They will spawn more, but they do not want to despawn. But why? Why don't they want to despawn? Game objects equals deco object. Oh, we just got rid of the reference. We have to do object dot set active false for it to actually disappear, and then in the world, at some point we're gonna have to do, instead of instantiating it here, we have to take it from the pool. But one moment, we have to, what is it we have to do? In the master pool, when we get it, we have to do game object, object, and then we'll do object equals that. And then we'll do object.setActive true, and then we'll do return object. And the same thing here. How much you want to bet that's gonna work? And then not only that, but let's actually go the final step and make it actually use the proper thing. Going back to Chunk Terrain Manager, we're going to go ahead and right here, instead of instantiating it every time, which is a waste of resources, we're gonna do pool manager dot take dot instance dot take game object from master pool tree 1 world. I swear I already did this somewhere, so I'm slightly afraid that I broke something. Was it in bio? Oh yeah. Oh, so this is actually returning a copy now. Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Decoration equals that, so I don't actually have to do that anymore because it instantiated it on its own. So I can just say decoration now. I can once again say decoration here. And let's see how it works. Will it reuse the trees? Slightly worried about the fact that there's no trees. No trees whatsoever, so clearly something went wrong. Let's check on the world, and let's check on the pool manager. That's gonna be useless. I think that actually the pool manager should be responsible for this and not the world. We're actually gonna give the prefab list over here. I think it just makes more sense. So pool manager, we're going to give this to, or do public scheme object, and we're just gonna call it prefabs. And now here we can do in prefabs. Here we can also do in prefabs. And now when we go back here on world, we're gonna see that this has a spot. We're gonna put the tree in there. This makes things a lot simpler, and now we can actually get rid of the requirement for it to send in the world. That was kind of a silly requirement in the first place. Of course, that's going to anger the thing that's already doing it, so we're preparing for the wrath. It's in biome. There we are. And it's going to be in chunk as well. Okay, so let's see if that works. Uh-oh, that's not good. I don't like being placed in the middle of nowhere like that. Again, I believe it's because I'm looking at this panel. I think when I look at that panel, it breaks it. Yep, that's it, because it's generating in the background. Okay. So we still have no trees now. So clearly I've made a mistake somewhere. The question is, where have I made a mistake? I would like to believe it's in the... Let's see, decoration equals biome. This is getting it from the pool. This was working before, so it's gotta be this. But when we take the object from the master pool, something is going wrong. Let's go to the pool manager. Oh, yikes. That's it. It's instantiate prefab, not just prefab. This one's gonna work. Come on. Yes! Ah, that feels good when you figure out a bug like that. I don't know where the trees are. They're hiding from me. Hello? I see them in the list. Yes! Okay. Okay, let's just hope there's no trees where they shouldn't be. Okay. Look at that! And they go back exactly where they should be. Is there one tree or are there multiple trees? One tree. How about here? Tree review. We've done it, guys. We have made a system for placing down really whatever we want to be placed into the game world. We can make cacti that go into the deserts. We can do a lot with this. Let's walk around a bit. Explore all the various things we can do. I think the terrain actually is looking really good. One thing that we should do, though, to make the trees look kind of less stupid is apply a random rotation to them on the Z-axis. Okay, so going over to the generator, we just do... And this is another one where we're gonna want to use the random generator so that it's always the same. Decoration.transform.rotation equals new we'll do plus equals new quaternion, and that's going to be 0, 0. I don't know in Unity what is rotation from 0 to 1. No, 360. That's what I thought. Okay. So 0, 0. And then we'll do chunk.random.next 0 to 360, and then 0. Hey, you can't add to a quaternion. That's sad. That's very sad. Is there a dot add? Okay, we'll do new vector 3 then. Is it going to complain about that? It's not a variable. Sad. Okay, so we'll do equals new quaternion, and we'll do 0, 0 chunk.random next 0, 360 0. That's gonna work. Okay. And because we're doing it with the random that we have made predictable, I can be pretty darn sure, first off, they are not being rotated. So, whoa, failure there. Or they aren't being rotated in the way I want them to. That's also a possibility. I mean, it's definitely changing the rotation here, so let's try that. I wonder if it's just rotating in a way where you won't really notice. Are they like in weird angles now? No. Huh. Okay, so that's not what I want either. What do I want? What do I want? Fine, you know what we'll do is we'll do transform.rotate. Aha! And we'll do 0, 0. New vector 3. 0, 0. Chunk dot random dot random dot next. This is gonna work. This is gonna work. This is gonna be the one because it's a helper method. So if it doesn't work, I get to blame literally everyone except for me, which actually is fine. That works. Are these all in the same? No, they're different. Look at that. We've got them facing in all different directions. Now what we have to ensure is that it's actually normaled out. The problem with doing rotate instead of setting the rotation. So what we'll do first is we'll do decoration.transform.local rotation equals new quaternion, because otherwise it'll just rotate it more and it won't look the same after. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying by that, but what I'm saying is what we were doing before had a problem, and so I'm fixing it. Let's see if the rotation maintains the same when we regenerate that. I'm gonna say it does. So guys, I know that may not have been the most exciting stream you've ever been in, but we actually got a lot done. This is actually starting to really look like a game. I mean, between the grass shading, the trees looking pretty neat, I think it's looking pretty darn nice. So I want to thank you all for watching, even though it's kind of boring to watch. I hope you all learned a little bit, maybe are excited to see more of this in the future. I'll upload it onto my channel. I'll unprivate it. Hope you guys enjoy. It's a lot of slow and steady work here. If you want to support me, definitely share my channel with some friends. Maybe tell them I'm working on a game and it looks awesome. It's going to be supported on browsers because I'm cool like that. Trust me, there's a lot of hurdles you have to jump through to get it to work on browsers. You can't use multi-threading, which is really depressing. I am exploring all over. So I think the key to getting this to work is if I set this to 5 or 7 and then I look away, and now it's gonna work. If I go through a jump, it's not gonna break it completely. Yes! Oh, look at that! Oh, that looks so neat. Let's go a little bit bigger. Let's do like 15. Click off. This, my friends, is some nice world generation. Now, I don't want to brag about my own work, but I am bragging about my own work. So this is what it looks like if you were to travel quite a bit. You may end up on an island like this one. What is the purpose of the game? There isn't really a purpose yet. It's gonna be a survival game. I just need to come up with like the details. There's a lot to do with it. But the map generation, I'm getting happier with it. I think that it definitely has some character. I like the little islands. I like it all spread out. I think about like people get their island and they'll build up a little town on it. It's gonna be top down though, so it's a little bit of a struggle. Thank you all for seeing me program, and I will see you all next time. I think this actually looks really good.